पावन गुरु पानी पिता माता तरत महत पावन गुरु पानी पिता माता तरत महत पावन गुरु पानी पिता माता तरत महत. Let us hear once again the song of a mountain. Let us know the great giver by the journey of the river. Let us feel the vast ocean and know God's devotion to love with our love for our love. We shall rise above to love with our love for our love. We shall rise above. To love with our love for our love. We shall rise above to love with our love for our love. We shall rise above with our love for our love. We shall rise above.
Good morning, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Port Richey. My name is Karen Noffsinger, and Reverend Marty is visiting family, and so I have got the pleasure of being here with you this morning to deliver our message. This morning, I'd like to light our Unity candle to remind us that we are all children of God and that we all share this light of Christ's nature within. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living, and no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. So I'd like to ask now, before we begin, let's just take a moment of prayer. And I ask you to close your eyes if you wish. We are so grateful for this time together. Beautiful morning. as we're going to spend some time contemplating our Mother Earth and all the creatures that are in it, and how we are divinely connected all to one another. And we are so grateful for this time. We are grateful for this time where we can truly give blessing and acknowledgement to our part in restoring our earth. And for that we say thank you. Amen and amen. If you would please, join me now as we look at the mission, vision, and core values of Unity Spiritual Center of Port Richey.
A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And the mission for Unity Spiritual Center of Port Richey, through prayer, service, education, and outreach, we support transformation and heart-centered living. Our core values are spirit-led, learning, joy-filled community. And we have held fast to this affirmation through this year, and we see this working in order for us. Led by the divinity in and through each one of us, Unity Spiritual Center Port Richey moves forward into accepting our highest and best. We are richly blessed with generous gifts of prayers, time, talent, and finances that flow through us with ease and grace.
Hi, my name is Renee Dollar. I'm going to be reading the Daily Bird on Protect. I bless the earth with love and care. I am a caretaker of my beloved home, planet Earth. Just as I want my living space, my body, and my loved ones cared for and protected, I pray for and work to protect the earth. The book of Genesis proclaims humankind was given dominion over the fish, birds, and living things of the earth. I accept this authority and use it wisely. I am mindful of steps I take to support a healthy and vibrant planet. Recycling, opting for environmentally safe products, and working to eliminate litter and contaminations to keep waterways, air, and environment safe for all life. In my spiritual practice, I bless and give thanks in honor of the earth and for all those who share the call for its protection. And from Genesis 8:22, as long as the earth endures seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease.
Continue focusing on healing Mother Earth. And sit quietly as you take in a few deep inhalations and then exhale very slowly.
Allow the breath to return to normal. And observe as it slowly flows in and out. And now bring your awareness to the light in your heart, where the divine spirit resides. And with each inhalation, observe the light in the heart as it brightens. And on the exhalation, allow that light to flow out to the earth as love. Allow the light to expand till it becomes the size of the heart. Your whole body. And then see it fill the entire room. And as you inhale, the light brightens. And as you exhale, light flows to the world as love. And now allow the light to expand beyond the room and embrace each flower, tree, plant, and animal. Allow the light to expand beyond the room and let your love fill the streams, the lakes, rivers, and oceans until it merges with the very core of our Mother Earth. Observing this love offering, the earth makes this healing energy available to all. And it soothes the entire world.
As we continue our reflection on soothing the world, healing the world, let's now bring our minds to the joy of springtime. Maybe we'd like to reflect on our recent Easter celebration in the gardens right here at Unity Spiritual Center. The vision of our Easter lilies and the butterflies as we release them. Perhaps the birds that were singing or the hawk's cry. It's easy to sense God's beauty and majesty everywhere. And it brings to mind the words of the poet E.E. Cummings. I thank thee, God, most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and the blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. You know, Earth Day is coming this Thursday, April 20th. So today is Earth Day Sunday, a day when we can give thanks for the beauty and abundance of the earth, and when we reflect on our call to care for the earth as well. But unfortunately now Earth Day must also mean that we must look closely at the fact that our earth is in grave danger. You know, Antarctica's Thwaites Glacier, perhaps you've seen this. I know it's come across my Facebook feed, and it's referred to as the Doomsday Glacier. And apparently, every year it contributes 4% to the global sea level rise, and it acts as a stopper for the West Antarctic ice sheet. If the glacier were to collapse and take the sheet with it, that would raise global sea levels by about 10 feet. That would be devastating for Florida. Now, a study published in Science Advances, and this was on April 9th, and it warns that there is more warm water circling below the glacier than previously believed, making that collapse more likely. Pollution, oil spills, these melting ice caps, overfishing to the point where fish stocks won't come back. It's all happening while we're here together right now. On this Earth Day, the question we have to ask is, what is becoming of this small, fragile planet drifting through space? The argument about climate change is over. The Earth is warming at an alarming rate, and all but every few are convinced that the polluting of our planet will only get worse as new economies such as China and India, as they strive to bring their standards of living up comparable to the United States. We're already seeing ominous consequences, intensifying storms, droughts, and rising coastal waters. James Hansen of NASA, probably the world's most significant climate modeler, has said that the Earth has 10 years to start producing less carbon dioxide instead of more. If it fails, we will have a different planet, quote unquote. The British scientist James Lovelock, who built the equipment that allows us to measure the deterioration of the ozone layer, said that he believed that the tipping point had already come and gone, and that the Earth is careening towards the worst disaster, and on a faster time scale than most anyone realizes. New reports trickle out in the news almost every day of water supplies and animal species and habitats at risk, but so far it is still by and large business as usual in this country. Now, climate change, thankfully, was more of a serious issue in this last presidential election. In fact, the Biden administration has decided to convene a global climate summit on Earth Day. 2021. Many important environmental events have happened on Earth Day since 1970, including signing of the Paris Agreement. And happily, with swift executive action, the U.S. has re-entered into the Paris Climate Agreement. What a blessing. And yet, there are many of us that are still distracted by the global pandemic. We have concerns about gun violence and terrorism, both foreign and domestic. We know what human rights violations looks like, or if there are natural disasters, or if we see others going hungry. It's natural for us to see it as something that is our job to do, and to see ourselves as a force for good. But climate change is more dangerous threat, and it's killing more people by far than terrorist attacks. Only these people that are dying, they're dying from droughts and storms, raising water, spreading disease, which do their damage in ways that are hard to measure. And the big difference is that unlike being a terrorist, we don't have to commit evil in order to contribute to destruction and global warming. All we need to do is keep living in the comfortable life of American consumers as we do now. It's far easier to focus on all the wrongs and injustices out there than on ourselves and on the damage that we are doing through denial and avoidance. It seems that there are two great issues the human race must face if it is ultimately to survive and thrive. The first is, can we learn to deal with our differences without turning to violence and war? And the second is, can we muster the vision and the courage to stop the destruction of the earth before it's too late? We at Unity begin our thinking about our life on this planet with a very simple affirmation from Psalm 24. The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it. Everything is God's first. But let us look this morning at the sweeping implications of that claim. In the first part, Jesus tells us a simple parable of a rich man who is bringing in large crops. The man decides to build larger storehouses for everything he is producing. And he says to himself, "Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry." But then God says to him, "You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you. What good will all of this do for you?" And then Jesus wheels around and talks about farmers and stores of grain. And he talks about nature. "Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body and more clothing. Consider the ravens. They have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet God feeds them. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these." You see, we're seeing two views of life. In one, we see the solitary individual who accumulates for himself. And in the other, Jesus describes life as interconnected, an interconnected world where there is enough for everyone. Your life, Jesus is saying, is part of a single great economy, the economy of God in the universe. In all of nature, all of life is held in God's love. And there is enough for everyone. Do you believe that? There are enough resources, enough food and clothing for everyone, but only if we take our place in God's economy and not just our own. Everything is connected. You know, at times, living our lives as American consumers, we make the mistake of narrowing our focus solely on our own comforts and our own national interests. But our Wayshore tells us that God creates and loves the whole world, the oceans, the rocks, the plants, the animals. And human beings were created to be part of that great harmony. It's God's world, God's house after all, not ours. And we humans have been rude and self-centered guests in someone else's house. You know, the greatest spiritual leaders, from say Saint Francis to Mahatma Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, Desmond Tutu, they all believe that God's universal love knows no bounds of race or faith or nation or even of species. All of life is connected. All life participates in a seamless web of connection. You know, I'm sure many of you have heard of the butterfly effect, and that's part of chaos theory, where scientists explain how just a small change in a system can have huge effects down the line. This butterfly effect is actually possible. With the flap of a butterfly wing in Japan, it can set off a hurricane in the Caribbean. And the driving of a gas guzzler can melt the iceberg in Greenland. The novel, The Brothers Karamazov, the spiritual teacher in this, Father Zosiman, he puts our interconnectedness this way. All is like an ocean. All flows and connects. Touch it in one place, and it echoes at the other end of the world. Love all of God's creation, both the whole of it and every grain of sand. Love every leaf, every ray of God's light. Love animals, love plants, love each thing. If you love each thing, you will perceive the mystery of God's things. That same vision is what moves St. Francis to write his great poem celebrating brother, sun, and sister moon. Everything is made of the same stardust, the elements and the molecules unleashed by the first Big Bang. So that makes us cousins. Cousins to a granite rock, a polar bear struggling to stay alive in the Arctic, or a grand sequoia along the coast of California. By contrast, we have been schooled in radical individualism in politics, economics, and business. The only questions we learn to ask are, what's in it for me? What can maximize my prosperity? What will make me happy? What politician will improve my life and my pocketbook and my 401k? We are consumers above all. Of course, we love this earth and we have to ask, what then shall we do? What can the human race pull back from the brink that we are racing towards? Can we pull back? Of course, ultimately, the answers will have to be technological, finding new sustainable ways to generate energy, a growing, increasing, demanding world that's in need. We all have work to do. And I know it can be daunting to imagine how the likes of you and me can make any difference at all. Maybe we should begin with the wise advice of Nellie McClung, who was a 20th century Canadian environmentalist. And she says, let us do our little bit with cheerfulness and not take the responsibility that belongs to God. None of us can turn the earth around. All we can ever hope to do is to hit it a few whacks in the right direction. Let me suggest several ways that we can give the whacks. Each of us might deliver. First, we can begin to see ourselves as part of God's world. We can see our health and our destiny in the relationship to all that exists. Clean water and air are spiritual issues. God so loved the world, Jesus said. We have to learn to do the same. We need our spiritual leaders and community to help us see through the phony consumerism and individualism that leaves us more anxious and lonely. And we need to stay connected to nature through walks and bike rides, through watching the birds carry out their daily dance, strolling the beaches, hiking in mountains, or just lingering in the park down the street. We also need to evaluate our ways of living, the cars we drive, the trips we take, the size of our home, the light bulbs we use, the ways we get to and from work, the amount of meat we consume. And finally, we need to support candidates and leaders who are committed to addressing this crisis. The stakes couldn't be higher for the human race. And in fact, for our entire planet. Either we learn new ways and move beyond being self-centered, or millions will suffer, and our children and their children will inherit a critically ill world. That really is the spiritual question for us. Will we deliver a few whacks in the right direction for God's sake? For the sake of human lives already at risk, for our children's sake, and for the sake of the earth itself and our fellow creatures. I encourage you to find resources at earthday.org, including a Restore Our Earth toolkit, and explore the different activities that they have on ecosystems, the carbon cycle, food sustainability, ecosystem recreation, and civic engagement. So think about what you can do in doing your part. I know that you will. Thank you, and namaste.
When I dip my toes in the waves of the ocean, something in me knows I am part of that ocean, and I can't deny I am one with all life, 'cause this is my world, and this is yours. Stand in a forest that's been here for 1,000 years. Something in me is silenced, and I open beyond my fears. And a voice from inside tells me not to deny that this is my world, and this is yours. Return to one source, so let us sing with one voice, let us sing of our choice. Sing with me. I choose life, and I
thank you so much for your generous heart and giving and continuing to sustain Unity of Port Richey Spiritual Center. If you are new here and you'd like to know how to contribute, you may go there one of two ways. You can go to unityofportrichey.org or also from our Facebook page, and be sure to click the button and it will take you right to donating. Now, will you please join us for our offertory blessing?
In deep gratitude, I give way to the limitless flow of prospering substance. I am blessed with all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and the blessings are multiplied. Thank you, God.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, so grateful, grateful, so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, grateful, so grateful, I'm so grateful, so grateful, grateful, so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much for spending your morning with me as we celebrate Earth Day, and I hope you found some inspiration in going out and doing some good next week as we celebrate making this Earth Week and make Earth Day every day. If you'd like some more information about how you can participate in Earth Day, please go to our website where we have got a bunch of information from earthday.org. Join us as we end our service with the prayer for protection.
Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.